This is Meir Walensky with Driving Markets, driving while talking about markets. So China's manufacturing output shrinks for the fourth month, and yet America has GDP 3.3%. So China's been shrinking. If you're watching this channel for the last couple of years, you'll see I've been calling China going into deflation. A lot of pushback on that. Obviously, a lot of comments. People don't like it. Say, what are you talking about? China's mighty. It's the number 2 economy globally, and it is shrinking. There's whole areas of China that are vacant, empty, huge tower blocks, huge cities. We're not talking about Shanghai. We're not talking about Beijing. We're talking about the other cities outside of those metropolitan centers. So these cities are vacant, empty. Manufacturing output is dropping, retail sales is dropping, the Purchasing Managers Index, which is a measure of what the actual managers are buying, moved up slightly. However, overall, China is going into deflation. It could even go into recession. So it's still got positive growth, but it could go into recession. If China goes into recession, what impact is that going to have on the world? Well, if we cross over from Asia into the US, as far as the US is concerned, they're painting a picture that everything is paradise. It's all super. Everything is great. They've got great GDP. They've got full employment. They've got inflation more or less under control. Interest rates are going to come down, and everyone is feeling great. Cost of living, irrelevant. The Wall Street analysts, all of them, are calling for a great year. Soft landing. We're going to have great spending. The stock market's going to go up. So what am I missing? Am I missing something here that everything is going to be absolutely super? Prices are overinflated. It is a semiconductor, AI, GPU, chip-led growth or chip-led boom in the stock markets. And yet, look at US compared to China. Huge economies, but the US is coming out with great numbers, inverted commas, and China's coming out with poor numbers. Who the heck do you believe? Now, as far as the US is concerned, they've got an election year, so the lies will just multiply. There'll be more and more lies from Joe Biden and his cronies, and the Fed will be feeding that narrative through to the markets that everything is fine, we're going to have a soft landing, inflation is not really inflation, cost of living is imaginary, housing shortage is imaginary, it's not really, you're imagining it, and therefore it's all a fantasy. Well, the real fantasy is in the pricing of the stock market, and the real fantasy is in the Wall Street analysts who are paid millions, and yet they're coming out saying this is only going to be a bull market. Well, it's only going to be a bull market because of an election year. The election year, they've got to manipulate and manufacture good quality numbers to make you, Joe Public, believe or fool you to believe that everything is absolutely fine, and then it all come tumbling down. It's not doom and gloom. When you've got a massive jump in property prices and a massive jump in equity prices, you've got high inflation and stock markets are still moving higher, there's something wrong. Something's very, very wrong. So the truth is not out there. The truth is definitely being hidden by the US central bank and by the government. The Fed is going to have to issue at least $2 trillion of bonds this year, probably 3.6 trillion to be fair, so put my name down for that one, 3.6 trillion, in order to pay for all of the government expenses, which is mainly immigration and social housing and social welfare benefits. You'll have rising unemployment, especially in the high-tech sector, as more and more companies will lay off staff simply because they're saturated with staff. And what you're going to have is rising unemployment also in the manufacturing sector. If you look at the transport sector, which is a lead indicator of the economy, that is in the doldrums, and yet no one's paying attention to that. We're not even talking about geopolitical issues, which I haven't even mentioned. But if you look at China and look at the US and look at the disparity between those two economies, then there's a problem. This is Meir Walensky with Driving Markets, driving while talking about markets. Catch you later.